having that happen. So as we go in here, let's look up here. Sleep is the most important behavior. Here's the thing, 36% of your lifespan is spent sleeping. Now let me break it down. And this was interesting. One of the people that we heard from at convention, so a lot of the notes I'm going to be sharing tonight, the man that I'm going to be sharing them from, his name is Russell Foster. You can look him up on TED Talks. You can hear this whole message there. I love TED Talks. You know, those things are great. Anybody else listen to those? Good. Good. Some nerdy people in the hand raising. Thank you. Oh, me too. That's okay. I like it. They're fun. Anyhow, so he's from the University of Oxford, and he is the chair of molecular neuroscience in London. And he's also been a member of the National Science Foundation Center for Biological Timing. He's really smart, okay? So he's got a PhD, he's got a whole lot of things after his name, and then he also has been appointed as a commander of the British Empire for services to science. There you go. And he was presented by William. There you go, you can take that now. Yep. Okay. I'm frustrating my husband right now. Okay, so this is what's interesting though. So a lot of the notes I'm going to share with you tonight are from him. So in the 1950s, we got 8 hours of sleep. Now we get about 5 hours of sleep. Okay? So just kind of think about that, you know, so that's what the changes have happened. And I don't think that the world's gotten any better. It's probably gotten a little worse. So when we look at this, we think, okay, sleep is 36%. Well, we're going to break down some of the other percentages that Russell talks about. And so he says that general activities are 19%, work is 16%, watching TV and eating is 11%. Some of you were like, no, I eat 90% of the time. So, sorry, it's only 11% of the time it shows here. This is a good news. Household work is only 3%. I think that's way wrong. I know. I'm like, I feel like I'm cleaning all day. So we need to talk to this man. Socializing, seriously, exactly. Socializing is 3%. Hold on a second, let me go back to my notes here. And then exercise and text and email are 1%. Isn't that interesting? I would have thought that would have been more. But it just goes to show you, the point is that what we do the most is sleep. So this is what's interesting. I have one more thing that he was telling us about marriage. Okay, so have you guys been married 60 plus years? Yes, no, 50? 47? Okay, that's awesome. I was like, I don't know, you know, I was trying to figure out because nobody and I, no, I know, because you guys just celebrated your 20-something or other, huh? Yeah, I saw that. Okay, I remember, I watch Facebook sometimes. Okay, so here's the thing. If, not that any of us in this room have, but if you've celebrated 60 wedding anniversaries, you have slept 21.5 years of that. So half your marriage you were asleep. So there you go. Isn't that great? So, especially if you don't like your spouse. I don't know. Hopefully you like your spouse. Okay, but I thought that was interesting. So it's crazy when you start breaking it. I know, huh? It's crazy. So anyhow, I thought I like when he shared those statistics. This is what's important about while we're sleeping. This is what our brain is doing up here. So our brain is emotionally processing information, developing memories, removing waste products, rebuilding metabolism, replacing energy reserves. The brain regulates and growth. I mean, it's just crazy, all the things that are happening while we sleep. And the other cool thing is that sleep enhances creativity. So, you know, sleep, we don't, you know, I think sometimes we think of sleep as this indulgence. Like, oh no, we slept. We slept, we overslept, well, probably the case is we're really not getting enough sleep. And I love what Russell Foster says. He says, if we do not sleep, we do not fly. Think about it. If you're not getting enough sleep, you really aren't soaring. You are not flying. You have no creativity. You're cranky. You're just poopy. That's usually the case. And that's probably what you start saying to the cash register person. Did you get enough sleep today? No, they might slap you. Anyhow, don't do that. That might not be a good idea. It might make them mad. But you can give them an oil. You can say, I have an oil to help you with sleep. But the other thing too that it does is that when we don't get enough sleep, we have poor memory and we have an increased impulsiveness to do things. A lot of times things that are not just dumb things. So we have poor judgment and of course the lack of creativity. So some of the other things I want to look at here are, we're going to look at short-term, long-term, and so the first one is short-term. So here we can see if our sleep is getting disrupted. We've got loss of attention happening, high level of micro sleeps. Micro sleeps is actually even, like for example, if you're driving and all of a sudden you fall asleep. Failure to process information, impulsive and loss of empathy, memory impairment, and reduced cognition and creativity. And then when you look at long-term sleep disruption here, let's look at this one. Now so we're going to be breaking more of this down tonight in the class. But immune suppression, increased infection, cancer risk, increased cardiovascular disease, risk of diabetes 2, metabolic syndrome. So the thing is, if you don't think sleep is important, then hopefully by the time we get done tonight, you'll be like, wow, I need to get my sleep. Here's another one. Psychiatric, this is what it does, disrupting the sleep. Mood instability, anxiety, increased stimulants, sedative use, increased risk of mental health crisis. So these are all the things that are happening when we are not getting enough sleep. So we want to go ahead and look here. It says that lack of sleep impacts the immune, cardiovascular, and overall health, as well as the ability to lose and maintain weight. So now you can say, okay, that is why I'm not losing weight. I am not getting enough sleep. So we're going to talk about ways to get more sleep to help us, and we're going to understand why not getting enough sleep causes us to gain weight. So it's interesting too. I have some notes down here, but tired people are massively stressed, which leads to lowering their immune system. And so we're going to be talking a little more deeply into that in this next slide here. So if you look up here, you can see that lack of sleep can cause ghrelin hormone. That's what happens is that when that happens, that you have an increase in your hunger, and that leads to obesity, which then leads to cancer, impaired memory, and diabetes 2. So all these things start to happen with lack of sleep that the scientists are discovering as they're studying the body. So I'm going to just read you some of my notes and just share with you. It's interesting that they are saying that the appetite is profoundly impacted by sleep disruption, like 50% increase of body fat. So it's very, very serious. What happens is that when we're not getting enough, this hormone that we see up here, what happens is it actually causes us to crave carbs and sugar. I love carbs and sugar. But here's the thing that you want to do instead at night, instead of eating those things, it's better to get a handful of nuts, because nuts, we're going to slowly digest them. It's going to be easier on our system. So that's just a key there, that if you do get hungry, go grab some nuts, eat those nuts. The other thing too that I was talking a little bit earlier about, the sustained stress that leads to lowering our immunity, and it affects our memory, it impairs it. The other thing too that's interesting is that glucose becomes part of the circulation that leads to glucose intolerance. And then that leads to diabetes too. So, and then another thing that stress does is it raises our cardiovascular disease, because our blood pressure rises. So that's another thing that we don't think about. We don't always connect stress with sleep, but they do go hand in hand. So it's again another thing that we need to deal with our stress. And thankfully, the oils are great. How many people have used oils to help them with anxiety or stress or any kind of those feelings where they feel out of control? Anybody use oils for those things? Yep, quite a few of us in the room. Yeah, probably 20 of us that raised our hand. So that's just goes to show you that there are definitely natural ways that you can reduce that, and we're going to see how it helps us with sleeping as well. Interesting enough, people that work the night shift, they really need to be taking in a higher dose of protein. And I know we were talking about, just working the night shift can be very challenging, but they also have found in studies that group does tend to have a higher rate of cancer. But again, remember, if we're not getting our sleep, we're not getting enough rest, our cells are not getting renewed. Because that's what's really important, is our getting sleep so that our cells get the renewal that they need. So let's just focus a little bit more for just a moment on high carbs. And so I just kind of have a note up here. It says high carbs flood the muscles with glucose. And this is interesting. This can cause involuntary muscle movements during sleep. And then that's why I was sharing that you need to eat the nuts instead. And then the other thing that I have in my notes there is that they contain magnesium. The nuts do. So that's a mineral that calms the nervous system. So interesting, isn't it? So anybody ever get that? You're sleeping and all of a sudden you jerk and it wakes you out? Oh, awful, isn't it? Just like, oh, what happened?
I actually knocked out my fiance due to that.
When you did it?
I punched him and gave him a black eye.
Sure you did. That's the story they're telling everybody. Got a black eye because
His first black eye ever, and he's gotten into fights like in the past. Never gotten a black eye until he started dating me.
Oh, God. I tell you, watch out for you. Yeah, I'm going to stay clear. Yeah, nobody ever go to any women's retreat with you and share a bed with you because they might end up with a black eye. So this is interesting. If you're writing down notes, put down for if you've got these twitchy muscle spasms that you get. There's some oils that can help with that. You've got basil, clary sage, coriander, cypress. Cypress is great for circulation. Lemongrass, that's fantastic, for that lactic acid that we get in the backs of our muscles, and they get kind of all tighten up, kind of crampy. That'll help. Marjoram, Aroma Touch, which has basil in it, and then eucalyptus. These are some different ones that you can use if you do tend to, in the middle of the night, have those muscle twitches. And eat your nuts, get your magnesium. So, okay. So some other stuff that Russell talks about is very fascinating, but he shares here, because see, he's the professor of, I want to say that right. Circadian. Professor of circadian neuroscience. So he says that light provides the critical input to the circadian system, synchronizing the body clock to prevailing conditions. And he said even plants and, mammals and bugs, everything is on this rhythm, okay? So there's a rhythm for all of us. So he talks, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but just to kind of get an idea. So one of the things he talks about is sleep pressure, and it builds when we are awake. So the longer that we're awake, this sleep pressure builds up. And so then, we want to obviously go to sleep. So it's interesting when we, make sure my notes are clear here. When we wake, the sleep pressure builds, and then when we sleep, it declines and it disappears. So it's like that wave. So you've got your pressure, sleep pressure building up, you go to sleep, and then it's going down, okay? So that's that cycle that we have, that rhythm, okay? So what happens is the body clock wakes up in the morning when it has gotten enough rest. So then you don't really need an alarm clock. How many people have an alarm clock in the room? Ooh, like the whole room practically. Kenny's got a really great one now. It's really gradual. It just has a nice tone. It's on the new phones. It's great. I lay there and listen to it and forget to turn it off. So body clocks can vary. So this is what's interesting. I loved that he talked about how someone that's a lark wakes up at 4 a.m. in the morning, and somebody that's an owl goes to bed at 10 p.m. So now I feel better because I'm an owl. So I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus. And some of my kids are owls, and some of my kids are larks. So raise your hand if you are a lark in the room. You like to get up early. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, there's about 8. Now, raise your hand if you're an owl and you like to stay up. Oh my gosh, it's like what, 30, 40 of you? It's like the whole room. Okay. There you go. See? Owls rule. We can turn our head around.
How about online? I wonder how many online are larks or owls.
Is anybody staying out there?
No, they should. You should.
They
ask
should.
them. Yep. Tell
So
us if you're a lark
anybody
or
out
not.
there on Facebook Live, click and let us know if you're a lark or if you're an owl. I still think the owls are going to win because we rock, but that's it. No, larks are good. I do get up earlier now than I used to. So, okay. And this is what's interesting. Okay. I thought it was so funny when Russell said this. He said, even old people need just as much sleep. Because as we get older, we age, we get less sleep. We're always saying, I'm good enough. I just don't sleep that much. But he said that's just a myth. He says we're supposed to all get a full night's sleep. So he said don't buy into that. So this was so fascinating though. He talks about Thomas Edison, who invaded the light with the invention of light. And then look at this quote from Thomas Edison. Sleep is a criminal waste of time and a heritage from our cave days. I'm actually really glad right now that I'm not related to Thomas Edison, because I don't think I am. Anybody in the room? No. Okay. I was like, are you serious? Because now that we know that if we're sleeping, we're getting all this creativity. If we're sleeping, our cells are getting renewed, and as we learn more about the stress that our body goes under, and how it affects us, it's like, hello. So Thomas Edison, we love the light, but that stinks. So this is something too. Poor sleep can be linked to poor light exposure. So if you are in an office all day with this type of lighting, you are not getting enough light, and this is going to affect your sleep as well. All right, so they're saying a lot of buildings don't have enough light in them. See, now you can blame your boss. See, I will always try to find something you can blame in these messages. You got to take responsibility, but that is a challenge. So when we look up here, we know just the practical things. Turning down the lights and the electronics, 1 hour before going to bed. I am not going to ask who does that and who doesn't do that in the room, because we have electronics now. And I was thinking, man, I am so guilty of this kind of stuff. So these are things I need to go back to book reading at night, It's very interesting, but darkness helps our body begin to produce melatonin. So if you think about all the lights that we have on with our phones and our computers and everything, or even what Russell Foster was saying, he says, really make your room a haven. Get the curtains that will darken it up, and get the lamps. Just turn everything down lower. And then if you do have any kind of devices, I know on Kindles especially, you can, in certain things, you can turn it down to like a different lighting. It's that, what is that, yellow type of light? See, yeah, the blue light, huh? So bringing down the, so we want to change that so that we get this other light that comes in. Because when we see the TV or anything, all of a sudden our eyes are popping up with all that energy. So yeah, softer lights, the yellow and oranges, so stay away from the bright blues. And then the other thing interesting is that here are some oils that you can jot down to lower your melatonin. Okay, if you want to help that melatonin. So what I'm saying is do these things in addition to the oils. I think that'll work really well for you if you're having trouble sleeping. So some of them are black pepper, cedarwood, ginger, myrrh, frankincense, sandalwood, tangerine, ylang, and balance and in tune. Those are some that will help you. Because a lot of times I know we want to go grab melatonin, but there's definitely been some research done on melatonin. And so it's definitely try to go with something like this. It's not going to have all the side. Yes?
What was the last one you said?
Oh, in tune.
Thank you.
Yeah. And in tune has patchouli and frankincense and some other ones in there. So. Okay.
Stephanie, what
Yes.
do those oils do?
Say that again.
What do those oils do?
Those oils are going to help you with your melatonin. So you naturally have melatonin, and it's going to help everything. It's going to help you really prepare for bed, and just helping if you've got lower levels of melatonin, it's going to help with balancing those out. But in addition to that, you need to do all the other things too, to prepare yourself. So if you're thinking, why do I not get enough sleep? Sometimes it's just the natural things that we do or don't do that make all the difference as well. Just the things that we put in our mouth and we're eating and watching TV. So if you used to read books and you don't anymore, pull out your books. Kenny and I do mentor calls with some of the people that are doing the business, and sometimes we'll just sit on our bed and we'll pop it open because we have to get away from our children. And anybody that sits with me, after a while, they'll look over if they're, because Zoom, you're on camera, and it's like, good grief. And I have a stack next to my bed that's full of books. And yes, I do read. I love to read. So I always just They like bring comfort to me. So I like reading, and so I'd encourage you to, even a magazine, it's good, it's still something, but it'll help you in the process. Something else that's important is your body temperature. Okay, so this is something that you really want to make sure, because you know your core body temperature is going to lower at night. So if you're too hot, you're just not going to sleep as well. So you want to make sure that you're taking care of that it's cooler in the house. So make sure, whether you have a whole house fan or you've got your air conditioner you put on, go ahead and do that. This is so fascinating as well. Okay, so remember we're talking about that rhythm. So, you know, everything's building, and as we sleep, everything's going down like this. So that means that, you know, our body temperature is dropping as we're sleeping. Well, in addition to that, this is very fascinating. When you look up here at the slide, you can see the blood pressure, it lowers at night. So it lowers at night, resulting in most strokes happening between 6 a.m. to noon, because that's when you're coming back up and you're building up pressure again. You see that? Isn't that fascinating, that wave? So just to give you just a little insight into that. So in addition here, okay, so this I thought was fascinating as well, he talks about. So these are all the resources that he was sharing. So from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., do not be on the road. Do not drive, do not be on the road. That's what I decided. Because this is the most dangerous time to drive a car. Because alertness is impaired, and he actually said that it's worse than being drunk. It's interesting because about a month or two ago, maybe the last couple months, I was reading, and like 2 or 3 people had gotten hit in the morning walking. It had killed them. And I was thinking, what in the world? Was there a drunk person out at that time? Well, now that I'm beginning to understand, it was around this same time frame, and I'm thinking, did they not see them? That could have been it, but there's a really high possibility that that person fell asleep at the wheel. Because if they're saying that this is the results. So they're saying that 31% of people have driven, and it's called micro-sleeping, so you fall asleep at the wheel. But he says here, he was saying 100,000 crashes that happen in the U.S. every year are due to sleep issues. So it's a very serious situation. Here's some examples that he gives even in history of people who worked the night shift and were having a lot of just lack of sleep happening. So he gave some different things that have happened in our history. So Exxon Valdez, 1989, that happened. Failure to process information due to lack of sleep. So, and that of course affected all of our oceans because of the spill that happened. Then another one was the Air India Express. That was again affected by the micro-sleeping. They fell asleep. And then in 1986, Chernobyl, increased impulsivity and failure to appreciate consequences, another sleep-deprived situation. So he's saying all these major catastrophes that happen are because people are not getting enough sleep. So the tired brain is going to lead to, we're going to fill it with something when we're tired. So alcohol, drugs, overuse of medication, energy drinks, sedatives, and things along those lines. Another thing a lot of us experience is jet lag happens, but it's actually because of the exposure to light. So the eye has visual cells that detect brightness, and that's why we get jet lag. So now, an oil that can help with that, you can try using this and do equal parts grapefruit, bergamot, and lavender. So if you know somebody has jet lag, or if you are traveling and you get jet lag.
Would you layer that, or would you put it in a rollerball?
You could do it either way. I'd probably just put a couple drops in my hands and rub it together and smell it. That's probably what I would do. But if you travel a ton, I'd make a rollerball. If that's something, if you're constantly going into different, you're all over the place on planes.
Time zones.
Mm-hmm. So, and it will help to some degree. It's still challenging because you're disturbing your sleep because of the light. And that's again why you want to, I literally, even though I live in the country, okay, so I will tell you one thing. How many live in the country? 2 of us? Oh no, my gosh, this is great. A few of you out there, okay, I know you do. Okay, most here do not. Okay, so when Kenny and I lived in Roseville, I remember saying to him one time, I said, I am done living in the city. I said, I grew up in the country, and I grew up, Audrey and I, we grew up in Shingle Springs, in Shingle Springs, you don't have lamps all over the place. And it was dark because we live on land, 5-acre parcels and things like that. So I said to Kenny, we lived over near the Nugget over here in Roseville, if anybody knows where that market is. And I said, I'm done. I said, I am tired of pink skies. I cannot sleep anymore. And the lights, especially there, were really bad because we were kind of near the Target. And I just said, I am not getting any good sleep. So when we moved out to the country, oh my gosh, I forgot what it's like to see stars, and it was dark. And I remember when I first went to somebody's house, in the evening, 6, 7 o'clock, and I come out maybe an hour later, and I'm stumbling because I can't see anything because there's no street lamps. And I'm like trying to figure out my flashlight on my phone, and I cannot see a thing. It's like nothing because, again, we're out in the country. But we don't always have that luxury to have those kind of things. So even still, we have, the curtains up. So I would encourage you to get those darker curtains. I wear my little, night thing over my eyes. And I even wear earplugs, so does anybody else do anything like that? Thank you. Okay, yes. I want to get good sleep.
What do you do when the kids come in the room and you're all knocked out like that, though?
I don't even notice. Sometimes they crawl into bed, I don't even notice. Yeah.
Doesn't she send them to you, Kenny?
Yeah, I wish.
I don't know. I just ignore them.
Yeah, they know they go to my side. They don't come in too often, thank God. So I'm glad for that. Okay, so teenagers need 9 hours of sleep. So this is interesting. Fewer than 25% are getting 6.5 hours per night. So puberty hormones can affect the molecular structure and change their sleep. So we'll talk just a little bit about this. But here's the thing. If teenagers are not getting enough sleep, they're sad, they're depressed, they're grouchy, they sleep in on the weekends, they do stupid things, they hurt themselves, they get poor grades, they make mistakes, alcohol abuse, overeating, and you're like, wait a second, you're talking about me. No, I'm just joking. But seriously, this is what happens. Well, now I feel better. I'm like, oh, I was a normal teenager. Okay, great. But this is important. We need to be getting sleep. Our teenagers need to be getting sleep as well. And in addition to that, if they do, it stabilizes sleep and grades go up. So, and here's the other thing too, that I've been doing some researching with statistics and stuff, and they're actually saying that during the day, use peppermint, lemon, and rosemary to improve alertness, thus affecting your grades. It is the one way your child can cheat on their grades, because it really makes them more alert. It makes them just be able to focus better. So I always think it's just giving them the one up. They need a leg up. So I hated taking tests. Anyone else like me did not like taking tests? God. Oh, a lot of us in the room. Good. My husband loves tests. He's like, you like tests too? No? Anyone else? Most of us are women in the room. How about you men? Do you like taking tests? Men are good at no? Okay. I'm telling you, I'm a horrible test taker. So, this is interesting. So, doTERRA, Dr. Nicole Stevens did a double-blind study because she wanted to see, can a natural supplement improve sleep? So 51 of doTERRA people completed the study because there were some things that they had to do in order to complete this. So let's talk about those things, okay? So as you see up here, some of them were given a placebo soft gel with vegetable oil in it, and the other ones were given a doTERRA Serenity soft gel. Now here's the thing. During the 6 weeks that they did this double-blind study, they were not allowed to use oils. So there's a few people that sounded like that did, and they got kicked out. They couldn't accept them. So in the end, 51 people completed this. And here's some notes that I have from it. It says all participants took both during the study, but they didn't know. They didn't know if they were getting the vegetable one or if they were getting the Serenity soft gel. And they did a sleep diary just to see how they were doing. And then they also had a lead sleep evaluation survey in addition to that. So this is what happened. They said participants that took the sleep product had a better sleep experience. Those who had more difficulty before got better results. And so it worked equally for men or women. So anybody can take it. So they found that it worked. And in addition to this, Dr. Nicole Stevens said to take 2 soft gels 30 minutes before bedtime. And then, of course, lower your lights, do all that relaxation that you need to do so that you can that supplement will help support the things that you naturally are doing. And then of course use your essential oils that like you like to use, whether you're diffusing or roller balls. So let's look over here. So this is the Serenity Soft Gel, and I'm actually going to go around and ask for some testimonies of people that have been using it, and then we're going to talk just a little bit about it. In fact, let me say this one thing before I have testimonies. So you can see that it's got lavender in it. It's got this other that's called it's L-theanine, I think. Is that how you say that? Say it again.
Theanine. Theanine.
Theanine sounds good, huh? Okay. Lemon. I'll make anything up.
I don't know.
Lemon balm, passion flower, and chamomile. Hey, I know chamomile. Okay, I didn't say chamomile. Chamomile. So this L-theanine. Okay. I love all these science words. Okay, great. But this is what it is, because some of you are going, well, I don't know what it is either. Okay, well, it's a non-protein amino acid that's in green tea, and that's what it looks like. So it's that flower, the camellia flower. And so this is a little more science for you about it. It is structurally similar to neurotransmitters, glutamate and GABA. This is what's important. Those are both to calm the nervous system. And then it also will help promote restful sleep. So if you're like, what the heck is glutamate and GABA? All you need to know is the purpose of those things is to calm the nervous system down. And the interesting thing with this is that it actually crosses the blood-brain barrier. And you know not very many things cross the blood-brain barrier. Okay? Frankincense does, but that's because the molecules are small enough. All right? So with that being said, can I have a few testimonies with the Serenity Soft Gels? Anyone use them and they work? You know, okay, she's like, I don't want to be on that Facebook Live. Yeah, you got to be willing to be on Facebook Live. Yes. Okay.
I actually take them every night too, and then I put the Serenity on my pillow. I put a drop on each side, and I sleep like a rock.
Ooh, I love it. That's awesome. Do you have a testimony too? You used? No, not yet. You nodded your head.
I like that idea.
I know.
I used it once. I think we had it here in class, or when we first got it, and I took that one that night and slept really well.
And you slept really well. Awesome. I love this. I need to get some. I haven't got them yet. I'm like, I really want those. Anybody else do the Serenity Soft Gels? You got them. Have you taken them?
Not yet.
Oh, you got to take them. She won it, so she has to take them. Maybe I take them and tell us about it next week. Otherwise, I'm taking them back, so I can try them. So, anyone else do the Serenity Soft Gels? Yes.
The first time I took one. Go ahead. The first time I took one, and it was kind of, and with two, I'm out cold. Completely out cold.
How do you wake up in the morning?
Fine.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
Just nothing.
Oh, good.
different.
But you sleep
Earplugs.
good. Yeah. Yeah. Do you wear masks too?
No, no mask.
I should get you a mask. They're wonderful. They make them when they have like a little puffy there so that they don't flatten all in your eye. No, they make them great nowadays. It's like fancy. Mine are purple too, so they're really great. So good. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about these oils so you understand a little bit more, because this is important to understand. Okay, so linoleic acetate right up here reduces inflammation. Now, it's important to understand what oils that have this. And so I put up here bergamot, clary sage, lavender, petitgrain, melissa, orange, oregano, lemongrass, and marjoram. So these are some of the ones that you're going to find. And what I did, so that you would understand, I actually put little asterisks, and so in your notes it's going to show little asterisks for you there. And those are just showing that these are the ones that have a higher level. So those would be ones that you might want to go to first. So obviously lavender is going to be fantastic for that. And we're actually going to, in just a few moments, pass some of these oils around. But let's look at the next one here. And linalool reduces inflammation. And so you can see a list here of different oils. So I'll just quickly read them, but again, when you see the asterisk, those are the ones that have a higher amount. So they're gonna, obviously, those would be the ones I would pick first. So bergamot, coriander, geranium, ginger, helichrysum, fennel, lavender, lemongrass, lime, marjoram, orange, petitgrain, tangerine, ylang ylang. All right? So let's talk about the linalool for just a moment. Okay, so this is what it does. So this is the reason I wanted you to, I'm going to read a little bit so you understand how it works. So when you're picking an oil, you can go, okay, that's why I want to pick that oil. So it inhibits the GABA. Again, that's the enzyme that breaks down, the GABA transminase, which is the enzyme that breaks down the GABA. So the net result is that there's more GABA in the brain, which has a calming effect, while at the same time it's going to increase your focus and your clarity. Okay, and they may even say it as GABA, but it's capital GABA if you're taking notes. All right. So then what this does is it helps with the receptors for serotonin, dopamine, and other neurotransmitters. And so what it's doing is it's supporting that greater cognitive function, and it's going to give a sense of peace, sense of happiness. Those are the feelings you're going to have with it. And the other thing that the linalool does is that it's going to relax the body by decreasing sodium and potassium. So now you can start to understand how it's working in the body and why you're getting these relaxing feelings. Now this is interesting too. Let me just give you a little bit more information. Stress, as you know, reduces our immune system to keep us healthy. And that's largely, because we've got the hypothalamic and the pituitary going on and the adrenal axis. And the sympathetic nervous system activation, as you may know, fight or flight response, that's what that is, has a suppressive action on the immune cells. So what this is doing is it's going to restore two types of immune cells, and it's going to bring them up to normal levels. And then it's going to regulate those genes that are critical for the healthy function of the immune system. So keep in mind, you want to get your immune system back up again, because our immune system, when it's lower, we're going to have all that stress, all those different things happening in our body that we talked about. So we're trying to, keep our bodies healthy. So let's look a little bit more. So keep those notes, just keep in mind those oils that you're seeing listed, because we're going to talk about them in some of these different oils. So now that you understand, what these two are doing, you're going to be able to understand why these oils are working the way that they're working. So here we have an upset stomach due to increased acid secretion can keep us awake. How many people have been awake when they had their tummy hurting?
Yeah.
Yes. It's like, okay, so you can get an essential oil, again, with the linalools in it, okay? You can go look for one to reduce the inflammation. So if you look in your notes, we just read all these different oils that can help with that. Now remember, I put asterisks next to some of them. So what is, anybody, look at the asterisks there and tell me what they are. What are those oils that you see? Coriander, okay? Ylang-ylang. Lavender. Okay. And what else?
That was it.
Was that it? Okay, excellent. Okay, so there's some there. Now the interesting thing is, in addition, so when you look at this one here, okay, this is digested. And it has ginger, peppermint, caraway, coriander, anise, tarragon, and fennel. Now fennel is also on that list. It's not an asterisk, but it was like 14%. So it was still pretty high. I think it was about that. So it's still just as important. But the interesting thing is you've got coriander in here. So when you get a belly ache in the middle of the night, you can slap on some oil. So we're going to pass these around. And I have a question here. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. Did you get tummy ache when you first started with the oils in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
Do tell. It's because I prayed this on her. She wanted to know if the oils would work. I said, listen, sister, I'll pray for you.
Don't ever
and
ask that question.
you don't ever. And I said, she needs a good belly ache. And what did you get? I'm really not that mean most of the time.
So Stephanie's a praying woman. She's a woman of faith, and God hears her.
He loves me.
So yeah, you said y'all hope you have experience. So I woke up and I had the family physician kit, which I didn't grab digestion at the time. I grabbed peppermint because I just wanted to use the single oils, and just to go off of using little oils at a time, I think I put like 14 drops in my stomach. I mean, I went right back to sleep because it completely, soothed my stomach, but then I woke up to my bed smelling like I grew peppermint in my bed. it was, you know, my poor dogs probably all were intoxicated with peppermint, but it really worked. I was able to go back to sleep, and that's a constant thing I do have because I snack at night. I'm a snacker.
I like to
So,
Yep,
yeah.
I get it.
Just so let's pass this around. This is coriander, and then we're going to pass digestion on this side, and then just make sure they get to everybody. No, I really don't. I'm really not that rotten. But see, if you know Darlene, she mocked the oils, and she goes, and she made fun of them. And I had to before, so I get it. And I said, well, listen, I know these things will work for you, and I know all you need is just a good bellyache, and you use an oil, and you're gonna be amazed at how it works. And she was. And then I've never prayed. Now I pray blessings over her. Whenever I pray for her, I do. I go, kids, get together. I just pray. So I have made up for it like tenfold, right? I have made sure that I've made up for that one long prayer. It's okay. God loves me. He forgave me for praying it. You ask forgiveness later. Okay, so no, I'm just teasing. Okay, so we're going to pass around petitgrain next, all right? And we're going to talk about this one for just a moment, and we'll look at some slides here. So this is a fun one. This is a new one that we have. So when you look up here, this is interesting. It's got, we'll talk a little bit about this in my notes, but it's got 17 compounds versus lavender that has 64 compounds. So we're just going to talk about some of the differences here. So what it does is it decreases neural, I cannot read around here. Let me work. Yes, excitability. I cannot see when I look at on the side there. I need to.
Can you not read it on your notes?
Yeah, it's tiny.
Oh.
I got progressives now. You know, I'm a mess when I'm in my 40s now. It's my birthday this week, so yeah. Woo-hoo, yes, cheers. Yay. But yeah, I'm 44 this week, and I'm like, yeah, I can't see anymore. Okay, so increases sleep time, less time to fall asleep. Okay, and you can actually use 2 to 3 drops in a veggie cap to help relax the vascular smooth muscles. Now, if anybody knows what the vascular muscles do, it helps with our blood pressure. So that just gives you a little bit of,
right?
Yes, our veins, yeah. So it gives you a little bit of insight into that. So I'm gonna pass it over here. There we go. And it's an orange, so it's got like this kind of bittery smell. But it's got some, so my whole point tonight is to pass around oils, and you're all gonna sleep really good. Someone told me that, Audrey, I think it was, Audrey, you said you sleep really good after classes that we do on Monday nights, huh? Because we pass all these oils around. It's great. So let me tell you a little bit about this particular oil. It comes from a bitter orange plant, and it is somewhat similar in chemistry to the lavender, okay? Because it's got the same similar effects. It's calming, it's soothing, and one of the other differences is that, okay, so while lavender is made up of many different chemical constituents, around 64, petitgrain has just 17 main ones. But this is what's interesting that Dr. Hill was saying, is that it doesn't necessarily give it less activity, all right? In fact, when oils are actually made up of fewer compounds, there can be even greater activity and benefit as those compounds are going to be more concentrated. So it's definitely worth something to try. So it's got a calming effect on our nervous system, both centrally and peripheral, and it also increases our calm feelings. It can reduce, sad, anxious feelings, anything along those lines. It can increase your sleeping time and your quality. And the other thing too is that it can actually reduce overexcitability of our nerves and the discomfort that comes from that. And the other cool thing is that it supports your immune system as well. So, anybody use this oil yet? Because I know it's a brand new oil. And do you use it for sleeping? Anybody use it in the room yet and use it for sleeping? Okay, it's new, so I know you guys are probably just starting to get that one. So go ahead and try diffusing it. Anybody on Facebook there?
No, I'm laughing because Susie just said, Steph, I was reading the heading of this and I had to laugh. It reads, Let's Sleep with Kenny Wahlberg.
Oh.
Oops, sorry, I guess I shouldn't have tagged myself.
I know, yeah. I think my husband's off limits, yeah. We've been married like 22 years. That ain't happening. I know. Well, I said something. There was we were going to put another title on it too. Something else about sleeping. But it came out wrong too. I was like, don't put that one either. That gives the wrong impression. Well, we still screwed it up. Oh, well, shoot. Thanks for catching that. Man. Okay, so you try. Okay, so the new Serenity. Okay, so anybody have the new Serenity? Okay, excellent. So if you guys have testimonies about this one, we're going to pass it around. But the reason that, okay, so I want you to look up here. The reason that I put down, instead of saying what it does, I actually put down it's got, what it has. Lavender, sweet marjoram, Roman chamomile, ylang ylang, sandalwood, cedarwood, vetiver, and hoewood. So the new oils are cedarwood, vetiver, and hoewood. But here's the important thing is, look at your notes, and did you see, we've been talking about the acetate, we wrote the oils that are in there, and then the ones in the ladle, those as well. And the reason I did that is so now you can go, okay, what I want you to do is go, now that I understand that these oils have these things in them, I know that they're going to help with reducing inflammation, they're going to help calm me down, they're going to have relaxing effects on me. So I say that so that you can understand why you're using an oil. Because then that way we'll understand. So when we look at a blend, we can see that a lot of these oils are in those two groupings. And we say, oh, okay, that's why it's calming and it's relaxing. So when you pass this around, please do not fall asleep on me. But I just want to explain the other thing too. Let me walk over here. Because some of you got the Modern Essential book. And what I want to share is that for any of you people that are kind of nerdy, and it's okay to be nerdy, no worries. But if you're looking in this particular Modern Essential book, this is a little bit more for the science geek person. And when they look at it, they can go, oh, okay, esters. It's got 40% esters. Okay, so then we'll talk about esters in just a moment. Then you can understand why this oil works the way it does. That's what I want to explain to you. It's a little bit heady, but the thing is it's important to understand why the oil works. Then you can know what one to grab. Because there's a lot of oils that you can use for a lot of different things, and it helps to understand what they're there for. There you go. So that's why I wanted to point those out. So real quickly, any testimonies about this one? Yes.
I definitely have issues sleeping for sure. Monica gave me a sample of it at her party that she had about a week ago, and I just used a few drops of the Serenity with the lavender and just rub it on my feet right before I go to bed, and I have been sleeping better than I have in probably 5 years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That is like amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have you tried the Serenity soft gels yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so now I want her to try 2 of those soft gels and then rub that on there. And then I want to hear, we'll do it on the weekend because if you have to work, you might not get up. It might not be a good day. That might be a bad thing. Okay, so as we're talking, okay, so this is what we're going to do. Because I don't know where my peppermint is, but it is so stinking hot in here. Is it hot in here to you tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to pass around Breathe. I don't know where my peppermint is.
I probably have some.
Do you have peppermint?
I'll go back and get some.
Everybody, grab your peppermint out, grab your Breathe. I'll pass this one around and just give yourself a drop. And if you have peppermint, I was like, I'm sweating. I'm like, and it's like, whoo, it's hot. So, yeah, if you need to cool off, that'll help cool you off. Yeah, pass those around so everybody's like, okay, so then the other thing too I'm going to pass around is crappy coffee. I know, it's not good coffee. It just smells bad. But the point is when you're smelling all these different oils, it's kind of like when you go to, what is it? Is it drinking wine where they do that, where they smell? Yeah, okay, so you're drinking a little sample of wine where they have coffee beans. Well, oils, you gotta do the same thing because it's got that same, so I'm gonna pass this one over here. You can smell bad coffee. That's okay. It's cheap, sorry. Okay. Next time somebody's gonna bring me some good coffee beans, because that's like, yeah. Is it the pedigree one? Oh, it's I don't know where my lid is at, but it's okay. Is it over here?
No, right there on your stand.
Oh, okay. Here you go. I'll put that on. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk about peace. See, my whole point tonight, I'm telling you, is to make you sleepy. So this is interesting. So, okay, keep in mind again, all the list of oils that we've been talking about. Look here. Vetiver, lavender, ylang ylang, frankincense, clary sage, marjoram, spearmint. Spearmint is like the only one that's not listed in there. So when you're smelling this one, this is a great one. Again, if you need to relax, if you need to go to sleep, if there's any type of hyperactivity going on. So these oils, Serenity and Peace and all these different ones that you see are going to help anybody that needs to focus and needs to, you know, calm down. So maybe you've got a child who cannot sit in their seat and they're wiggly during school and things like that, and they have a really hard time focusing. These are oils that would be great for them. These are ones, all these oils here that you're seeing in this blend would help those kids. So let's look at Clary Calm as another one. Oh yeah. Oh, first of all, I forgot to ask, any testimonies about peace? Anyone use peace? I know. We're going to have testimonies about Clary Calm. I love Clary Calm. Do you have peace? Okay, good. Let's have a testimony.
We love Peace. So we tried Serenity for me and my husband to sleep. It didn't really work. It actually made me more alert.
Oh, interesting.
That's the
So-
same result.
Yeah. So, so we tried Peace, and Benadryl usually knocks me out, and Peace did the same exact thing.
Now, how do you use it? Tell everybody how to use it.
So we put it on our feet, and then, but it would work just as fine if we diffuse it.
Okay,
And
excellent.
then also my son, if he's ever having a temper tantrum, he's will be 4 in December. I will.
Yeah, I get it. 3s and 4-year-olds, yes.
Yeah, I will go. Oh, buddy, you need some oil, and this is Peace is his go-to oil, and immediately his whole demeanor changes.
Now with him, do you put like 1 or 2 drops on? Do you use any coconut oil, or do you put it directly on?
I put it directly on, just like 1 drop on the back of his neck, and he just loves it.
Oh, it's like the child whisperer. It's another one. So if you guys have that child or grandchild, you know, that you want to calm them down, little temper tantrums, try the Peace and try that one. Anyone else have another testimony about Peace? Anyone else? Yes.
So my daughter suffers from anxiety pretty bad, and the week before at school, one of the teachers had it on her because none of the stuff was. She's used to those other ones, so she put it on the back of her neck, and it was calming her down. So I need to get a bottle of that one.
I know, that's great. That's good though. It's amazing how what it helps with, and just calming down, you know, our feelings, our emotions, and excuse me here, you know, any kind of, you know, anxiety that we might be experiencing. So that's awesome. Oh, I don't think I brought my Clary Calm. Do you have one? So, yes, okay. Now, since she's going to share her Clary Calm, please do not roll her Clary Calm on. So just smell it. Okay, awesome. I have like 4 of these at home. So let me tell you a little something about Clary Calm. I have 2 daughters in my house and a third one that's not quite, you know, and at that stage of life. But I will definitely tell you that this has changed our life. And this is how I know that it works. When your teenagers want the bottle, they're like, give me that. And then I finally got tired of sharing it with them. And I just said, fine, I get my own, you get your own, and we're gonna just have, you know, since that's what we're all on our cycles. So we need Clary Calm. So we're gonna talk about what's
And so
in it.
do I. I'm glad you all take it.
Yes, every man is very happy. Yes, because it definitely changes the mood. So when you're looking here, you can see again, it's got, again, these ones that we are seeing in the, you know, in the acetate one and the lilac there, when you see that list, you can see clary sage, lavender, bergamot, Roman chamomile, cedarwood, ylang-ylang, geranium, fennel, and it's got some other ones too. So you can see a lot of those oils are going to be in those 2 lists. I literally, just so you know, I really did look at the Modern Essential book, and I actually looked at all the different ones and what the amounts were, and I checked it out. So that I did your homework for you. I did it so it'd be easier. So then you could just glance and look at these. So let's have at least a couple of testimonies about Clary Calm. Oh, Mary's, wait, I gotta run over here. Mary's like, pick me. I'm coming. Okay.
So my daughter has the worst cramps. I mean, they were so bad. She had to take medication for it. And so when I started learning about the oils and the Clary Calm, she started using that, and she does not have to take medication anymore.
Wow.
So the Clary Calm totally works. She just has to do it for 2 days, and she's fine for
That's
the girls'
fantastic.
cycle. Yeah.
Oh, man,
Yeah.
where was this when I was like 16?
I know.
I gotta use this stuff. Oh my gosh, my kids are so lucky. Okay, somebody else that's a great testimony. Someone else, yes. Come over here.
It does work great.
Oh, yes.
Whoa, it doesn't take long at all.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I think that's what I really like. And in fact, we'll talk about Clary Stage in a moment, but that's a great one to help with those, you know, oh yes, those hot flashes that happen. Somebody else, Clary Calm. Yes, okay. It's like one of my, I don't like the smell, but it's like one of my favorite oils.
Yeah, it has a strange smell to it at first, but I have always been the type that I pop pills.
Yep.
Pills
Yep.
with my best friend. I have used this starting, because I'm currently on mine, TMI, but I've been using this, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to pop any pills, I'm just going to use this.
Yes.
I haven't popped a single pill, and I was the one that would pop at least 6.
Yes, to get through your day.
Yes, to
Yes.
get through my day. I don't even like crouch over. I'm able to move. I'm
Wow.
able to go places. I'm able to work.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't feel like crap.
Yep.
So due to that, I'm like, oh my god,
It
this
works.
is the best thing ever.
I know. Now, do you roll, like, do you roll on your tummy, or what do you
I
do?
roll it on my tummy back and forth,
Yeah.
and then I also put some on my spine.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Sometimes on the bottom of my feet, but
Okay.
usually it really helps when I put it on my spine.
Oh, interesting. That's great. And then do you do it once a day or twice a day, or what do you find?
The first 3 days are usually the worst, so I'm using it at least 3 to 4 times.
Okay.
But then as the days progress, just a couple times.
Okay. And the reason I ask that is because I know that other people, that's the big thing for them, is that especially people that have those cramps where they're like, they're done. They're just like, you know, and they can't go to work, or they're sick and all that because it just, so that's awesome. That's a great testimony. So, okay. So let's look at a few more here. So we've got lavender. So we're going to talk about, we'll talk about lavender, and I've only got one empty bottle up here because there are other ones in the back. So we'll pass this around. So we're going to talk about lavender and what's important about this one, and what's different about this lavender compared to other lavenders. So when you look up here, lavender, it gives higher ester because it's coming from the Mediterranean climates versus if it comes from the States. So that's the difference in that one. So, because it's kind of like the same concept of, you know, with wine. The same thing is, you know, if you go to Napa and you go learn about, you know, the different soil, and you go to some other place, and, you know, the soil makes all the difference, whether it be a beer or a wine. Well, it's the same thing with an oil. It's the same concept. So this is why our lavender is going to smell different from other lavenders because of these esters. So you go, okay, what the heck is an ester? Okay, and it's not ester in the Bible. Thought I'd say. Okay, these esters, okay, so they can contain a carbon atom with the following bonds: a double bonded oxygen, a single bonded oxygen, and a single bonded carbon atom. So many esters are known for their calming and relaxing properties, as well as their ability just to support health. So even if you don't remember how many double, single, atom, triple, all that stuff, doesn't matter. The point is, it's calming, it's relaxing, and it's gonna have a higher amount. So if you go, well, our lavender, man, doTERRA lavender is amazing. This is why. This is the difference and why you're seeing such an effect with it. Now, I do have a testimony over here of somebody that used lavender for the first time. Okay, you've been doing oils for a while.
2 years. I don't have a sleeping problem. I go to bed and I'm out and I sleep good, and I wake up automatically 6:30 to 7. I go to bed about 9:30. I took lavender. I just wanted to try it. I didn't wake up the next day till 9 o'clock.
Did you diffuse it? Did you put it on the neck? What did you do?
I put it on my feet and on my neck.
Wow. How many drops? 5, 6, 7, 8, 10?
maybe 14. Maybe 3 or 4.
3 or 4, and you were knocked
Couple
out.
on each foot, and then
That's great. I love it. Anybody,
I won't do it again.
Anybody else have a testimony like that with lavender? Anyone else use lavender and zonk you out?
Zonk my dog.
Yes, it zonked your dog out. Yeah, it will. If you give it to your dog, just so you guys know, the dog whisperer guy, what's his name? Caesar? Yeah, he uses doTERRA lavender. Yeah. You thought he was making those dogs. Yeah, he's putting lavender on.
They're like good.
Yeah, that's what we know. Yeah, that's how you gotta do. So.
When I first started everything, I tried lavender almost immediately when I got my kit, and I actually had 2 diffusers with it running in my room, and I had put it on the bottom of my feet and the back of my neck, and I luckily had the next day off. Where
Did you sleep in?
I slept until like, I think it was like 10:30.
It's amazing what it does. It's like fantastic. I'm glad you didn't work. You would have got fired. That's it. I saw another hand. Was there one more? Okay. Okay. One more testimony about lavender.
So lavender is actually how I got started. Someone told me to try it on my daughter, who would be put in bed at 8 and still be awake around 1, just laying there.
Oh, yes.
So I tried it, and she goes to sleep. Now she'll say no oils tonight, because she knows it's gonna knock her out.
Wow. How old is your daughter?
She's 3.
She's 3. She does, yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. That is so good. I think it's like pixie dust. I think it's like pixie dust. Yes. Oh, we got 2. Okay, we got 2 more, just because. I'm not going to say no to either of you guys. I'll let you share. Okay. You do. Oh, it's you.
Is it okay to share? It's a combination of a few words.
Yeah.
Okay, so yesterday I had the worst allergies. And I mean, I just could feel it. Like, I don't usually have them, and my sinuses were, it was just really bad. And I tried 2 drops of the lavender, lemon, and peppermint.
Yes.
And it was like gone within like a minute.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Did you roll them on, or?
I put it on my chest, just a couple drops each.
I love it.
I couldn't believe it.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
It is. Isn't it amazing when it works like that, and you're just like, oh, wow. And here you were suffering, and then you pull those out. That's a good story. Yes.
I used to sleepwalk really bad, and I started diffusing lavender and putting it on my feet and neck, and I stopped sleepwalking.
Oh, that's a good. You know, that's a good thing, because I had a friend that was my roommate, and she sleepwalked, and she lived in the Bay Area, and she walked through like, it was either her or it was her, I think, and she walked through like past lights and busy streets and everything. So sleepwalking is not good. So I'm glad. High five. I'm glad you do not sleepwalk anymore. So that's a good thing. I know another one that you can make. You can write this in your notes. You can use marjoram and you can use lavender, and you can do 2 things with those. You can either take and put them in the veggie caps, okay? And if you know, let me grab some veggie caps. I think doTERRA has the best. I honestly don't like the others because they break apart too easy. But if you get the veggie caps, you can put 3 to 4 drops of marjoram and lavender in here, and you can take that before going to bed, or get the Serenity soft gels, because then it's already even better. But that's one way of doing it. You can also take like 5-10 drops of marjoram and 5-10 drops of lavender, put them in a roller ball, and you could roll that on as well. And the great thing is with marjoram and lavender, but they're both going to help reduce inflammation, because if you've got a lot of inflammation happening, it's hard to go to sleep. So you've got to get that reduced. So that's really important to get your inflammation reduced, because it'll help you with your sleeping as well. If you're doing a roller ball, you can do 5 to 10 drops of each. Just make sure they're equal parts. Equal parts, whatever you do. Yeah.
Oh, here, you hold it aside. There we go. Okay, so if you use Serenity and it didn't work for you to fall asleep, well, when we were at the convention, I used the Serenity soft gel, and it actually knocked me out. It's a slightly different way that they have made it. It's not the calming blend anymore, it's the restful blend. But for whatever reason, that in a soft gel, it actually worked. So if you're like, oh, they made it in a soft gel, I'm not going to use it, you might want to try it.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, yeah, sorry. Thank you. Okay, so another one that you can do. Has anybody done this with their cup of tea? I have. Lavender's a little potent, but it does work. So you can take your chamomile tea and you can add a couple drops, 1 or 2 drops of lavender or bergamot, and you can drink that. Has anybody tried that before? No. Okay, there you go. That's another one that you can do. And it really does work. If you're really struggling to get sleep, it's definitely worth trying. But it does taste, it's floral if you do the lavender. It's just, it's concentrated. Because remember that the oils are really concentrated. So, you know, we know that 1 drop of peppermint equals 28 cups of peppermint tea. 1 drop of lemon equals 22 cups of lemon tea. So you know it's just super concentrated. So I'm going to give you some diffusing recipes. So they're in your notes. Here's some different ones to try. So I'm just going to quickly just tell you, I've just got 5 up there. And lavender and frankincense, you can do a couple drops of each. The number 2, the next one is clary sage. So if you tend to have you know, and especially as women, if you're going through the change of life, and I noticed one thing for me, like the bed sheet would be just wet. And when I started diffusing clary sage, just a little teeny bit on the back of my neck, and that was it. So just to give you, that's great to balance out the hormones. Then number 3 is breathe. We like to call that one the marriage saver, you know, the snoring one, marriage saver. And that's the one that we're going to do tonight. And the reason that we're going to be, so make sure, I want to, in just a few moments, I'm going to go ahead and pull somebody's name. So if you haven't filled out your drawing slip, can you guys make sure to do your drawing slip, and we'll make sure it gets put in there. But how many people have used breathe to help their lovely significant other or themselves not to snore? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, a lot of us. 7, 8. Yeah, lots of us. So that's another great one as well, you know, that breathe is fantastic for. I actually have people say they actually get to sleep in the bed again, so instead of the couch. So it's good. And then here's another one. 8 drops of Serenity and 3 drops of Wild Orange. And then the last one, number 5, do 1 drop each. 1 drop of cedarwood, patchouli, balance, vetiver, and Roman chamomile. And just so you know, Roman chamomile will be out December 1st. So if you're like, I need that Roman chamomile, I have a little bit left, and I just use it once in a while because it's like I'm waiting until it comes back out. Here's some other ones. Balance oil can be diffused or put on your big toes. And you know, I like to put lemongrass. So let's pass around balance and lemongrass. Lemongrass is what I like to put on my big toe, and that helps me to sleep at night. Yes, I have a ritual that I do, and that's one of them. But for some of you, it might be balance. But you can also, yeah, this is a great one to diffuse. Anybody else have a great recipe before we finish up for diffusing? Anybody use one for sleeping that they like to diffuse? Yes, let me come back here so people can write this down. I want to get this. Okay, go ahead.
I just mix Serenity and breathe.
Oh, it's good. I never thought of that. Yeah, and then it helps you
breathe
sleep.
good and you're out.
You're out.
Yeah,
That's it. I like that. That's a good one. How about one over here?
I do that same thing, Serenity, breathe, but I put 1 drop of cedarwood and I'm out.
Isn't that great?
It's wonderful.
I love that. That
Yeah.
would be excellent. Yeah.
I actually do the balance and lavender, 2 of each.
Yep, 2 of each in your diffuser. Awesome.
Knocked me out. I was surprised.
It is amazing. I love it. We're all getting good sleep. Are we getting better sleep with oils? Yes, hopefully. And if not, we're going to keep figuring it out. Anyone else have another good diffusing recipe? Okay, there's lots of different ones you can try. So those are just a few. Let's see. Just a couple more things here. I want to just address this. A lot of people say that they get chatter. They can't shut up at night, especially women. You know, this is the other thing too you got to remember. We talked earlier about what sleep does. Well, it's a great time if you're learning something or you want to retain something, look at the information and then go to sleep. The other thing too is that we solve a lot of things when we're sleeping, but sometimes we just need our mind to be quiet. So you can see up here, you can do 1 to 3 drops of balance and Serenity layered on the bottoms of the feet and the back of the neck. Another one is orange. You do just a drop of that. That should help. And then another one is DDR Prime. Okay, 3 drops on the bottoms of your feet. And that would be another as well. Now, the other one, I don't know if I have it up here. Let me see. I know it's in the back. Could somebody, just for the moment, we want to get it back there for the oils, for the roller balls. Oh, no, here it is. We'll open this one up. This is vetiver. And if you look at there, vetiver is a natural tranquilizer. Okay, see, I'm going to pass it around because I'm determined to get you guys to go to sleep tonight. My whole purpose of today's class is that everybody, we'll start it over here. They all, just to make sure, we'll start here. Yeah, you guys have to drive? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you got a long drive. Yeah, some of us have long drives. Okay. So, anyhow, it smells like dirt. It's great. It just smells like dirt. So, you can pass that around, and it's just nice and thick. So, it's actually a root, and it's from Haiti. Now, here's the thing. Here's the doTERRA group there, you know, in Haiti. With the vetiver, they do co-impact sourcing, so they have built a well. But I just want to show you real quickly the pictures of the devastation. It did go through right where doTERRA's distillery is. It went through there and they lost their roof. The vetiver is still right there. See those piles of roots? That's the vetiver. But they lost their roofs. And so they got to fix those and stuff. And I don't know if
And everybody was okay.
Everybody was okay, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure they'll be doing some work over there. And then just lastly, those are the resources. I don't know if it's a Dr. Russell Foster, but like I said, he's got lots of things behind his name. Dr. Nicole Stevens, Dr. Hill, The Essential Life Book, Modern Essential. Another, I looked up a website, Healthy Height with Dr. Chris. And then doTERRA blog had some information about sleep. And then PubMed is another great resource. And then I put down a number of the one I was looking at. So these are just some resources if you're like, okay, wanted to look it up and wanted to check it out as well. So just hopefully tonight you guys sleep really well. That's the whole purpose. And don't forget that anybody that needs to, drawing. But anybody that needs to, as soon as I do the drawing, you can go back there and make the roller balls. You know, I've got the snoring one and the insomnia one. And then we've got maybe 2 things of that deep cream left. Okay, think good. Okay, here we go. Who's gonna get briefed? So every week, this was Kenny's idea. Kenny said every week we're going to do a drawing for somebody, okay? Yeah, isn't that good? I know. So every week. Okay, here we go. Undine. Okay, I didn't look. Who is it this week? Okay. Sarah Wong. Where's she at? Is she still here? Is she gone? Hey, there you go. Here's some breathe.
He said I'm gonna win.
See, good. See, whenever I'm glad you enjoy that. See, it does. I'm glad. It really does matter. You speak life or death. So he spoke life over you. Well, just managing, and I think Kenny has the money, but if they could manage those 2 tables so people can go over and make their roller balls, that would be great. Thank you, guys.
Great class.
Thank you.